This video will show you how to replace the passenger side engine mount on a Mazda 3. This will be located along the passenger side of your engine. Let's get into it. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. Locate your passenger side engine mount. To do this, we're going to have to make our way safely under the front of the vehicle so we can remove and lower engine shield so we can gently lift up on the engine prior to removing any hardware. We're under the vehicle, we can see our lower engine splash shield. You should not need to fully remove this entire splash shield, we can remove this lower panel. This small panel is held in place with 2 plastic push clips and 2 8mm headed mounting bolts. For the push clips, I'm starting to remove the center to unlock them and then removing the outer portion to fully remove it. For that, you can use a trim tool or a flat blade screwdriver, whatever's best for you. Now we have a clear view of our engine oil pan. We're going to apply support on this, but when we do, we're not going on this area. Let's make our way along the ridge. You can see the mounting bolts. We're going to use a small piece of wood here, something that's long enough that the oil pan won't get hit. We can use a jack on this edge, lightly raise the engine just enough so we can make our way into the engine compartment. Now up inside the engine compartment, we're going to remove the engine cover. To remove the engine cover should be fairly simple. Just take hold of either forward corner and lightly tug up. Once you have that released, along the back side, same process, lift it up and out of position. Now we've exposed our hardware holding the mount to the engine bracket. We're going to be using a 17mm for each one of these 3 mounting nuts. As you remove them, you're going to find that the engine will want to go down a little bit. A thorough inspection of all hardware as we continue on will be replacing as necessary. Now we can see that we have our ground wire making its way across the top of the mount. There's a couple different mounting areas. For these, I'm using a trim tool. You can also use a flat blade screwdriver. You want to make your way in between and gently separate. As you start separating, if you did happen to break any of the locking clips, you can use a wire tie to hold this in position during the installation process. Let's get that next one. There we are. Let's move that ground wire out of our way, and we can focus on the next pieces of mounting hardware. There's one down here, one out in the open, and one along the forward side there. We're continuing with a 17mm for the rest of this hardware here. Let's pause on this one. We'll save it for last, make our way down to this one. Both of those bolts are exactly the same. You don't have to worry about mixing them up. Let's get this one off of here. Now that one mounting bolt is considerably longer than the other 2. Take note of that for the installation process. Now that we have the hardware out of there, we're going to gently lower the engine just enough that we can remove our bracket area from behind this AC line. That should be about enough. Let's take hold of that bracket. We'll try to work it out of position here. Okay. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installation of any brand new part, of course, we're going to clean and inspect all mounting surfaces and mounting hardware. We'll start with the area along the engine where we have our mounting studs. For these, we just want to make sure nothing's rusted, rotted, or weak in any way. Now it's time for the body of the vehicle. We have 3 mounting ports. And then of course we'll just clean the threads on our mounting bolts and we can continue on. Now it's time for blue thread locker. We're going to apply blue thread locker to each one of the threaded portions of our mounting studs on the engine bracket. Just a tiny bit should do. This is especially important if you're reusing your original hardware. After applying thread locker to those, we're also applying blue thread locker to all 3 of our mounting bolts as well. Let's get ready to install the brand new passenger side engine mount. Let's carefully start getting this in position. We're being extremely aware of our AC line. We don't want to cause any damage. We'll flex things as necessary. Raise or lower the engine as well. We'll continue on with our 3 mounting nuts along the top. We're only starting on all hardware. Once everything is started, we can snug it up. Now that I have those started on there, I'm going to put the engine back in the original height. So I'm just bringing it up approximately 1 inch here. Your application may vary. We can move the engine around as necessary and we'll continue on with our hardware. The longer mounting bolt goes in this upper hole here. Let's get the other 2. Let's start by tightening these 3 mounting nuts. Now here's where we're going to lower our engine down. We're removing the support from under it, and we'll continue on with the 3 mounting bolts holding the mount to the body of the vehicle. Let's start snugging these up. Now that I have all of them snug, I can torque each of these pieces of hardware to 60 foot-pounds. We have our wiring harness. We're going to make sure we secure that to its original position. Line it up, press it in. You can use a wire tie, as I mentioned before, if anything is damaged. Just double check to make sure that's properly secured. Let's continue on with our engine cover next. As for this engine cover, when we bring it over, we're going to align the circular ports with the oil cap and oil dipstick. Once it's aligned, press it into the locked position and give it a slight wiggle to confirm it's secured. Now we need to make our way back underneath the front of the vehicle so we can reinstall that small shield. Under the vehicle, we have our small shield. We want to make sure we have this forward area tucked up and over the other shield. The mounting bolt port should be down along the bottom there. Now we're going to continue on with our push clips. That'll hold this in place while we continue to the mounting bolts after these are complete. For each of the push clips, press in the outer portion and then lock it in with the center. Double check to make sure that's properly secured. We can make our way out from under the vehicle. Okay, friend, we finished the installation of our passenger side engine mount. At this point, you want to go ahead and start up the vehicle. You're going to let it run and make sure there's no odd noises coming from this area. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. the only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.